want to begin this hour with a report that will be incredibly hard to watch. The people of Gaza are reportedly starving to death. 10 Palestinians have died from starvation in the last 24 hours alone, according to reports. When we went to air yesterday, it was 15 people in the same time frame, according to local health officials. As malnutrition takes one life after another inside Gaza, thousands of pounds of aid sits mere miles away on the border. The extent of the suffering is unfathomable, but we think it is important to show exactly what is happening there. Again, the images that we are about to show you are difficult to look at. This is 6-month-old Juri Abu Hajar. She is alive, but suffering from severe chronic illness and malnutrition. Her mother sits behind her, filling a baby bottle with water because there is no formula. Unless something changes quickly, her chances of survival are frankly slim. And that is the fate for so many children right now in Gaza. Like this boy, 14-year-old Abdul Jawad Al-Kalban. The boy is dead. He starved to death yesterday. A medic is cleaning his fragile, emaciated body in the morgue at Nasser Hospital in Khan Yunis after Abdul could no longer hold on. Well, more than 100 aid organisations are calling for Israel to open the free flow of humanitarian assistance into the enclave. Last hour, I spoke to CNN's Jerusalem correspondent Jeremy Diamond about whether an increase in aid is allowed in any time soon, whether that is likely.
Well, we have certainly heard more comments in recent days from the Israeli military, from COGAT, which is the military agency that coordinates humanitarian aid into Gaza, talking about efforts to work with the United Nations to better facilitate the entry of aid. The reality is we tend to see these agencies within the Israeli government, within the Israeli military, speed up only at the very end, at the most acute point of crisis. But it is the policies of the Israeli government over months now that have led to the situation that we are in now. And that is not me saying that. That is, the 24 plus Western nations that we heard put the humanitarian crisis in Gaza squarely at the feet of the Israeli government just earlier this week. It is the 100 plus humanitarian organizations who have said that it is not that the UN mechanisms for getting aid into Gaza have failed, but that they have been actively prevented from succeeding in the Gaza Strip.
Well, my next guest is Caroline Williman, the project coordinator in Gaza for Doctors Without Borders. Her organisation, one of the signatories of the letter calling for Israel to end the blockade and allow aid into the enclave. She is in Gaza City right now. Caroline, thank you. Can you just walk us through what you are seeing on the ground right now?
Honestly, it's unfathomable and unconscionable what we are seeing here right now. I work in a primary healthcare clinic where we have a malnutrition program. We are enrolling 25 new children under the age of 5 or pregnant and lactating women into our malnutrition program every day. Every single day, I'm having to tell desperate parents, your child is not malnourished yet, so it cannot enroll on the program. We know very well that this child will be malnourished within a matter of time because there is simply not enough food for people to feed themselves, to feed their children. I have been doing this work for 9 years. Never in my life have I been in a place where my own colleagues come to work hungry. My colleagues who have a job, who have a salary, cannot find food, are not able to feed their families. And these are the very healthcare workers supposed to take care.
Caroline, can I just ask you, at what point do you assess a child to have malnutrition?
So the way that my medical colleagues assess this is through the middle upper arm circumference. So we measure the circumference of the arm. That's the medical way of establishing whether a child has either moderate or severe acute malnutrition. We see both cases. Despite being a primary healthcare center, we see both moderate and severe cases. It's extremely difficult to take care of the severe cases who need very specialized inpatient care that at this moment also we are not able to provide.
Can you just describe for us what a child is going through who is malnourished and what death from starvation is like?
Okay, I am not a medical professional, but what I know is that, for example, also a lot of the other medical issues that we see are compounded by this malnutrition. We also have a small inpatient ward that is full of people who have horrendous burns, including very many small children that they get from the airstrikes. We have very many people who have orthopedic injuries, whose bones are being kept together by external fixators. These wounds also don't heal. So it's important even to look beyond the issue of malnutrition as people dying from malnutrition. Also, any other medical issue will be horrendously compounded. And I mean, you've all seen the images of children wasting away because they also get to a point where it becomes incredibly difficult to start feeding them again, to start to get them back to a point where they can catch on to life.
People clearly know that they are putting their lives at risk in order to get food or food aid. Hundreds have been killed at aid distribution points recently. What, though, are their options? I mean, you are on the ground. If they don't eat, they will starve to death.
Exactly. I mean, there are no options, and people, as you say, they know very well that they risk their life going to these sites. My own colleagues were on site at an emergency room that we support here in Gaza City when 2 days ago, dozens and dozens of dead and wounded arrived. These were all people who had gone towards aid trucks of the World Food Programme who had just been entering the Gaza Strip, and they all died or were wounded by gunshots. So the fact that this is happening on top of the malnutrition crisis, it's honestly, I do not have words to describe the shame on humanity that we see here on a daily basis.
And we spoke to the chief of the WFP about what you've just described, that incident. She described it to me as the worst tragedy yet as far as her agency is concerned. And she talked about humanitarian workers whose lives are being put at risk, and she described it as being targeted. She also talked about how, you know, local staff, as you have just suggested, aren't getting enough to eat themselves as they try and find food for their families. Can you just describe what impact that has on those who are trying to help medically at this point? I mean, you must be seeing that happening yourself.
Absolutely. I mean, these are the discussions I have with my colleagues every single day. Unfortunately, this genocide also does not make a difference between people who are delivering assistance and everybody else. That's the nature of a genocide. Everybody is at risk. As always, the Palestinian staff first and foremost. 12 MSF colleagues have died since 7th of October 2023. And indeed, these are people who have been shot, who have been killed in airstrikes. Every single one of my colleagues has lost family members, has had to move 10 times, 15 times because of the evacuation orders, struggles to find food every single day. I have colleagues coming to me asking for cans of baby milk for their baby, and I have absolutely no way to support them with something as simple as that. And in the last few days, when our team had nothing to eat because their markets were closed, also as an employer, I was not able to provide them anything at all.
Israel entirely blames Hamas for this ongoing conflict. The GHF, the Humanitarian Foundation, as it is known, is set up by Israel and private security contractors, these are aid distribution sites, to ensure that they say Hamas does not intervene in the distribution of aid. Israel blaming Hamas for looting things like the WFP trucks. Are you seeing evidence or hearing evidence of that?
I mean, first and foremost, the Gaza Humanitarian Foundation, there's absolutely nothing humanitarian about it. What we need is to reinstate humanitarian assistance that is coordinated by the United Nations, like we do it everywhere in the world, in a neutral way. Humanitarian assistance is not delivered by one party of the conflict who uses it in a way to push forward their military goals, which is exactly what we see at those sites of the Gaza Humanitarian Foundation, where people are getting killed every single day. We do hear indeed of the accusations that it's Hamas themselves who are shooting at these people who are looting the trucks. I have not seen evidence for that. Are there trucks being looted inside the Gaza Strip by Palestinian people? Absolutely, because people are desperate, and people who have not fed their children in days will do whatever they can to stop a truck and to get off that truck a bag of flour.